discovery and abduction. In the year 2145, humanity had just begun to stretch its reach beyond the solar system. Dr. Elena Reyes, a brilliant astrophysicist, sat in her dimly lit laboratory aboard the International Space Station, her eyes fixed on a holographic display of strange readings from deep space. For months, she had been tracking an anomaly near the edge of the Milky Way, a disturbance in spacetime that defied explanation. "Commander Chen, you need to see this," Elena called out, her voice tinged with excitement and a hint of fear. Commander Li Chen floated into the lab, his weathered face creased with concern. "What is it, Dr. Reyes?" Elena manipulated the hologram, zooming in on a section of space that seemed to ripple and distort. "I've been monitoring this area for weeks. At first, I thought it was just a glitch in our sensors, but now I think we're looking at a controlled wormhole." Chen's eyes widened. "Are you saying—" "Yes." Elena nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "I believe we're witnessing the first concrete evidence of advanced alien life." Before Chen could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights bathed the lab in an eerie glow. "Warning, unknown object approaching. Collision imminent," the station's AI announced calmly. Chen and Elena rushed to the nearest viewport, their hearts racing. What they saw defied belief. A massive obsidian structure, easily the size of a small moon, had materialized seemingly out of nowhere. Its surface was smooth and featureless, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "My God," Chen breathed. "It's beautiful." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Commander, I don't think." Her words were cut short as a beam of crackling energy shot out from the alien object, enveloping the space station. Elena felt a sickening lurch in her stomach as reality seemed to bend around her. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was the Earth, growing smaller and smaller in the viewport. When Elena awoke, she found herself in a vast, cavernous space. The air was thick and humid, carrying an acrid, metallic scent. She was suspended in midair, held aloft by invisible forces. Around her, she could see dozens, perhaps hundreds, of other humans similarly restrained. "Dr. Reyes," a familiar voice called out. Elena turned her head to see Commander Chen floating nearby. "Are you all right?" I think so," Elena replied, her mind still foggy. "Where are we?" Before Chen could answer, a low hum filled the air. The humans began to glow faintly, and Elena felt an odd sensation, as if something was being drawn out of her very being. She gasped in pain and fear. "What's happening to us?" she cried out. A booming voice, seemingly emanating from everywhere at once, answered her. "You are being harvested, humans. For 1,000 of your years, we have culled your kind, drawing sustenance from your emotions, your life force. You are our fuel, our energy source." Elena's scientific mind raced, trying to process this information. "Who? What are you?" The voice continued, tinged with what could only be described as amusement. "We are the Void Dwellers. We emerged from the cosmic darkness eons ago, evolved beyond the need for physical form. Your primitive minds cannot comprehend our true nature." Commander Chen, ever the leader, found his voice. "Why are you telling us this now? You've been abducting humans for centuries. Why reveal yourselves?" There was a pause before the voice responded. "Because, insignificant creatures, your usefulness is coming to an end. Your species has grown too numerous, too widespread. You threaten the delicate balance we have maintained. It is time for a great culling." Elena felt a chill of terror run through her. "You're going to wipe us out?" "Not all," the voice replied. "We will keep a breeding stock, of course, but your civilization, your technology, your dreams of the stars, all of this must end." As the Void Dwellers spoke, Elena noticed something peculiar. The glow around the humans fluctuated, growing brighter when they felt fear or despair. She filed this observation away, her mind already formulating theories. "You won't succeed," Chen declared defiantly. "Humanity has faced extinction before. We've survived ice ages, plagues, our own destructive nature. We'll survive you too. The cavern filled with a sound that might have been laughter. Brave words, little human, but you have never faced anything like us. We are beyond your comprehension, beyond your ability to fight. As if to demonstrate their power, the invisible force holding Elena suddenly released her. She fell, screaming, only to be caught again mere inches from the ground. She was lifted back up, her heart pounding. You see, the voice taunted, you are nothing to us, playthings, cattle. But Elena had noticed something during her fall. For a brief moment, she had seen what looked like complex machinery beneath the organic-looking floor. Her scientific curiosity began to override her fear. If you're so beyond us, she called out, her voice shaking slightly, why do you need machines? Why do you need us for energy? There was a long pause, and Elena feared she had angered their captors. But then the voice returned, softer this time, almost curious. You are observant for a primitive being. Perhaps there is more to your kind than we realized. Suddenly, Elena and Chen found themselves in a different part of the structure. This room was smaller, filled with pulsing, otherworldly technology. Holographic displays showed images of Earth, of human history, of the cosmos. You wish to understand, the voice asked. Then let us educate you. Let us show you the true nature of the universe and your insignificant place within it. As images began to flash before them, Elena and Chen exchanged glances. They were terrified, yes, but also filled with a grim determination. Whatever these void dwellers showed them, whatever horrors they faced, they would find a way to use this knowledge to fight back. For they were human, and if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was defying the impossible. The lesson began, and with it, the first seeds of humanity's resistance were sown. The human resistance forms. As the Void Dwellers' lesson continued, Elena and Chen found themselves bombarded with information. They saw the birth of stars, the death of galaxies, and civilizations rising and falling across the cosmos. But through it all, Elena's keen mind was working, analyzing, looking for weaknesses. You see now, the alien voice intoned. Your species is but a speck in the grand tapestry of the universe. Your struggles, your achievements, all meaningless. Chen, ever the soldier, stood firm. If we're so insignificant, why bother harvesting us at all? There was a pause, as if the Void Dwellers were considering their response. You are unique. Your emotions, your life force, they possess a quality we have not found elsewhere. It sustains us. Elena's eyes widened. You're addicted to us, she realized aloud. You need us. The air in the room seemed to crackle with tension. Need is a strong word, human. We simply find you convenient. But Elena had seen enough. Despite the aliens' grand displays, she had noticed inconsistencies, moments where the illusion of omnipotence slipped. These beings, for all their power, were not gods. They had weaknesses. Suddenly, they were back in the vast cavern with the other captives. Elena immediately sought out familiar faces among the crowd. She spotted Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned xenobiologist, and called out to her. Yuki, can you hear me? The Japanese scientist turned, her eyes wide with recognition. Elena, what's happening? Before Elena could respond, a new voice cut through the din. Everyone, stay calm. We need to organize. The voice belonged to Major Sarah Connor, a seasoned military strategist who had been on a routine mission when she was abducted. Sarah was already moving among the captives, her presence reassuring and commanding. Listen up, people, Sarah called out. I know we're all scared, but panic won't help us. We need to work together if we're going to survive this. Elena made her way to Sarah, with Chen close behind. Major, Elena said urgently, I have information about our captors. They're not as invincible as they want us to believe. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Tell me everything. As Elena quickly recounted what she had observed, more people gathered around them. Dr. Tanaka listened intently, her scientific mind already formulating theories. A young hacker named Zayn Malik, who had been testing military-grade firewalls when he was abducted, chimed in with his own observations about the alien technology. "It's advanced," Zayn said, "but not incomprehensible. I saw patterns in their systems that reminded me of our own quantum computers, just more evolved." Chen nodded. "If we can understand it, we can fight it." Sarah took charge, her military training kicking in. "All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll divide into teams. Elena, you and Dr. Tanaka focus on understanding the aliens' biology and the nature of this harvesting. Zane, I want you to keep observing their tech. Look for any vulnerabilities. Chen and I will work on organizing the other captives and gathering more intelligence." As they began to move, Elena felt a surge of hope, but it was short-lived. The air suddenly crackled with energy, and several humans cried out in pain as they were subjected to an intense harvest. The alien voice boomed again. "Your plotting is futile. Your minds are open books to us. Resistance will only bring pain." But Sarah stood tall, her voice ringing out clear and defiant. "You say you can read our minds. Then read this. We will never submit. Humanity has faced extinction before, and we've always found a way to survive. We'll find a way this time too." The air hummed with tension, and for a moment, Elena feared the aliens would retaliate. But then, surprisingly, the pressure eased. "Your species' tenacity is noteworthy," the voice admitted. "Perhaps we have underestimated you, but do not mistake our curiosity for weakness. You are still our captives, our fuel." As the alien presence receded, Sarah turned to the others. "They're rattled," she said with a grim smile. "They didn't expect us to organize so quickly. We've got them off balance. Now let's press our advantage." Over the next few days, or what felt like days in the timeless environment of the alien ship, the human captives worked tirelessly. Elena and Yuki made breakthrough after breakthrough in understanding the nature of the harvesting process. They discovered that the Void Dwellers fed not just on emotions, but on the electromagnetic fields generated by human brains, fields that were uniquely complex compared to other species the aliens had encountered. Zane, meanwhile, had managed to interface with some of the alien technology using improvised tools. He couldn't control it, not yet, but he was learning its language, its rhythms. "It's like nothing I've ever seen," he reported excitedly. But at its core, it's still information processing. And where there's processing, there can be hacking. Chen and Sarah had organized the captives into an efficient resistance cell. People from all walks of life, scientists, soldiers, teachers, artists, all contributed their unique skills and knowledge to the cause. But their progress didn't go unnoticed. The harvesting intensified, leaving people weak and drained. The aliens seemed determined to crush their spirit. It all came to a head when one of the captives, a young mother named Aisha, collapsed after a particularly brutal harvesting session. As Elena rushed to help her, she felt a surge of anger unlike anything she had experienced before. "Enough," she shouted to the void. "You call yourselves advanced, but you're nothing but parasites. You think you're superior because you can feed off us. Let me tell you something. Humanity has faced parasites before. We've overcome plagues, we've conquered diseases, and we'll overcome you too." The ship trembled, as if shaken by Elena's words, and then something extraordinary happened. The glow that usually surrounded the humans during harvesting flared brightly around Elena, but instead of being drawn away, it seemed to push back against the alien energy. For a brief moment, Elena felt connected to something vast and powerful, the collective will of humanity stretching across time and space. And in that moment, she understood. "Everyone," she called out, "focus on hope, on defiance. They can't handle positive emotions. It disrupts their harvesting." All around the cavern, humans began to push back. They thought of their homes, their loved ones, their dreams for the future. They thought of all the times humanity had faced extinction and survived. The air crackled with energy, but this time it was human energy. The alien voice returned, but now it sounded strained, almost pained. What are you doing? Stop this at once. Sarah's voice rang out in response. We will not stop. We will not submit. We are humanity, and we're taking back our future. As the humans' collective will surged, something in the alien ship seemed to break. Lights flickered, gravity wavered, and for the first time since their abduction, the humans felt the restraining forces weaken. Elena turned to the others, her eyes blazing with determination. This is our chance, she said. The real fight starts now. And with that, the human resistance prepared to take their first steps towards freedom and towards saving their species from extinction, unveiling the alien agenda. The moment of triumph was short-lived. As the humans reveled in their newfound ability to disrupt the harvesting process, the ship violently shuddered. The vast cavern they were in began to shift and transform, walls melting away to reveal a labyrinth of twisting corridors and pulsating organic machinery. They're trying to separate us, Commander Chen shouted over the chaos. Everyone, stay together. But it was easier said than done. The floor beneath them became unstable, breaking apart into floating platforms that drifted in different directions. Elena found herself separated from the main group, along with Zain and Dr. Tanaka. We need to find a way back to the others, Elena said, trying to keep her balance on the moving platform. Zain's eyes darted around, taking in their new surroundings. Wait, he said, pointing to a cluster of what looked like glowing nodules on a nearby wall. Those structures, they remind me of the network nodes I was studying earlier. If I can interface with them, maybe I can get some control over this place. Dr. Tanaka nodded. Do it. Elena and I will keep watch. As Zain worked, Elena and Yuki observed their surroundings. The organic nature of the ship was now more apparent than ever. Veins of energy pulsed through the walls, and there was a constant, almost subliminal hum that seemed to resonate with their very bones. It's alive, Yuki murmured. The whole ship, it's a living organism. Elena's mind raced with the implications. If it's alive, it can be hurt. It can be killed. Suddenly, Zain let out a triumphant cry. I'm in. I can't control much, but I think I can stabilize our platform and maybe guide it. No sooner had he said this than their platform steadied and began to move with purpose. As they navigated through the shifting maze of the ship, they began to encounter other groups of humans. Some they were able to pick up, others they had to leave behind, promising to return for them. As they traveled deeper into the ship, the alien presence grew stronger. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out at them, trying to separate them, to draw out their fear and despair. But the humans fought back with their newfound weapon, hope. They thought of Earth, of the beauty of a sunrise, of the laughter of children. They recalled great moments in human history, the first steps on the moon, the eradication of diseases, the triumphs of art and science. With each positive thought, the alien attacks seemed to weaken. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the heart of the ship. It was a vast, spherical chamber, at the center of which floated a swirling vortex of dark energy. This must be where they store the harvested energy, Elena hypothesized. Before they could plan their next move, the alien voice returned, but it was different now, strained, almost desperate. Why do you resist? It asked. We offer you transcendence, the end of physical form, of pain, of death. We are evolution's end point. Major Sarah Connor, who had found her way to the chamber with another group, stepped forward. You offer extinction, not transcendence. Humanity chooses life, in all its messy, painful, beautiful glory. The vortex pulsed angrily. You understand nothing. We have existed for eons. We have seen the heat death of universes. Physical existence is fleeting, meaningless. You're wrong, Elena said, a realization dawning on her. You fear death. That's why you harvest us. You're not beyond physical form. You're trapped between states of existence. You're afraid. The chamber shook with the aliens' rage. Insolent creatures, we will show you true fear. Suddenly, the humans found themselves assaulted by visions of horror. The destruction of Earth, the extinction of humanity, the cold, empty void of space. But Elena, drawing on her scientific training, saw through the illusion. "It's not real," she shouted to the others. "They're trying to generate fear to feed on. Don't let them." The humans rallied, pushing back against the visions with memories of joy, of love, of hope. The alien presence recoiled, weakened by the assault of positive emotions. In that moment of weakness, Zane saw an opportunity. "The ship's defenses are down," he called out. "I think I can access their main systems." As Zane worked feverishly on a panel that had appeared before him, Dr. Tanaka made a startling discovery. "Elena," she said, her voice filled with wonder, "look at this." She pointed to a series of glyphs that had appeared on the chamber walls. As a xenobiologist, she had been studying them intently. "It's their history," she explained. "The void dwellers, they were once like us. Physical beings who feared death. They found a way to transcend their bodies, but in doing so, they lost something essential. They've been trying to recapture it ever since." Elena's mind whirled with the implications. They harvest us because we have what they lost. Our emotions, our life force, it's not just food for them. They're trying to remember what it was like to be truly alive. The alien voice spoke again, but this time it was softer, almost mournful. "You understand, then, why we must do this. The cold emptiness of eternity, it is unbearable." For a moment, Elena felt a pang of sympathy, but she steeled herself. "Understanding doesn't make it right. You're destroying countless lives, countless species out of fear. That has to stop." Zane suddenly straightened up. "I've done it," he exclaimed. "I've accessed their main systems. We can shut down the harvesting process, maybe even pilot the ship." Saren nodded grimly. "Do it. Shut it all down." As Zane input the commands, the ship groaned and shuddered. The vortex of dark energy began to collapse in on itself. The alien presence screamed in fury and desperation. "You doom us all," the voice howled. "Without the harvest, we will fade into oblivion." "Then face your fear," Elena said firmly. "Face death, as all living things must. Or find another way to exist that doesn't harm others. The choice is yours." As the ship's systems began to fail, emergency protocols kicked in. Stasis pods emerged from the walls, presumably to protect the humans during the ship's death throes. "Everyone, into the pods," Sarah ordered. "We'll ride this out and find a way home." As the humans scrambled for safety, Elena took one last look at the collapsing heart of the alien ship. In its dying moments, she thought she saw something in the swerving vortex, faces, thousands of them, alien yet somehow familiar. And she understood that this was not the end of the story, but merely the beginning of a new chapter in humanity's journey among the stars. The stasis pod closed around her, and as she drifted into unconsciousness, Elena's last thought was of Earth and the hope of returning home with a warning, and a promise of wonders yet to come. The counter-attack begins. Elena's eyes fluttered open, her mind groggy from stasis. The pod around her hissed as it opened, revealing not the familiar surroundings of the alien ship, but a sterile white room that looked decidedly human in origin. She sat up, her muscles protesting after their long dormancy. "Easy there, Dr. Reyes," a familiar voice said. Commander Chen stood nearby, looking older and more weathered than she remembered. "You've been out for a while." How long?" Elena managed to croak out, her throat dry. Chen's expression was grim. 2 years. We're back on Earth, or what's left of it." As Elena's mind cleared, the memories came flooding back, the alien abduction, the resistance, the final confrontation. "The others?" she asked urgently. "Most made it," Chen replied, "but we lost some in transit. And Earth has changed." Over the next few hours, as Elena underwent medical checks and debriefings, she learned the full extent of what had happened. The Void Dwellers, in their death throes, had launched a final desperate attack on Earth. While the planet itself survived, Much of its infrastructure had been devastated. Humanity was rebuilding, but it was a slow process. More worryingly, not all of the alien ships had been destroyed. Some had escaped, and reports suggested they were regrouping, possibly planning another assault. In a high-security briefing room, Elena reunited with the core members of the Resistance. Sarah Connor, now promoted to colonel, led the meeting. Zane, his hacking skills now legendary, had become the head of a new cybersecurity division. Dr. Tanaka was there too, heading up a team studying alien biology. "We've reverse-engineered some of the alien tech," Zane explained, bringing up holographic schematics. "We're not at their level yet, but we're making progress. The problem is, so are they. They're adapting, evolving." Dr. Tanaka nodded gravely. "The Void Dwellers we encountered were just one faction. There are others out there with different agendas. Some want to continue harvesting us, others want to wipe us out entirely." "But we have an advantage," Elena interjected, her mind racing with possibilities. "We understand them now. We know their weaknesses, their fears. And more importantly, we have something they want: true life, true emotion." Colonel Connor leaned forward, her eyes intense. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" Elena took a deep breath. "I think it's time we took the fight to them. Not just defensively, but offensively. We need to show them that humanity is not just a resource to be harvested, but a force to be reckoned with." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. It was Commander Chen who finally spoke up. "You're talking about an interstellar war, Elena. Are we ready for that?" "We don't have a choice," Elena replied firmly. "They'll keep coming otherwise. But I'm not just talking about military action. We need to try to communicate, to find the factions that might be willing to coexist peacefully. And for those that won't, we need to be prepared." Colonel Connor nodded slowly. "I agree. We've been on the defensive for too long. It's time to take the initiative." Over the next few months, Earth's remaining nations united in an unprecedented global effort. Space programs were revitalized and expanded. The reverse-engineered alien technology was used to create a new fleet of starships capable of both defense and deep space exploration. Elena found herself at the forefront of a new scientific initiative. Drawing on her experiences with the Void Dwellers, she led a team in developing what they called emotional amplification technology, devices that could project human emotions on a massive scale. "If we can overwhelm their harvesting systems with positive emotions," she explained to the United Earth Council, "we might be able to incapacitate their ships without destroying them." But not everyone was convinced by the peaceful approach. General Zhao, a hardliner from the Chinese military, argued for a more aggressive strategy. "We should use their own tactics against them," he insisted. "Harvest their energy, turn it into a weapon." The debate raged on, with humanity divided on how to proceed, but time was running out. Long-range sensors, enhanced by alien tech, had detected a massive fleet of Void Dweller ships heading towards Earth. In a tense meeting of the Earth Defense Council, Colonel Connor laid out the situation. "They'll be here in 6 months," she said, her voice grave. "We need to decide on our strategy now." Elena stood up, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "I have a proposal," she said, "one that combines both approaches." All eyes turned to her as she outlined her plan. It was audacious, perhaps even crazy. But as she spoke, she saw hope kindle in the eyes of those around her. "It's risky," Commander Chen said when she finished, "but it just might work." Colonel Connor nodded, a fierce grin on her face. "I like it. We'll hit them with everything we've got, our technology, our emotions, and our indomitable human spirit." As the council voted unanimously to approve the plan, Elena felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. Humanity was about to take its first steps into a larger universe, not as victims or prey, but as equals. The counter-attack was about to begin. Outside the council chambers, the shipyards of Earth hummed with activity. A new fleet was taking shape, sleek, powerful vessels that combined human ingenuity with alien technology. and at the heart of each ship was a core of pure human emotion, ready to be unleashed against those who had once thought to harvest it. As Elena looked out at the stars, she knew that the real battle was just beginning. But for the first time since the Void Dwellers had appeared, she felt true hope. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged stronger. Whatever the universe had in store for them, they would face it together. The counterattack was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity's secret weapon. The next 6 months passed in a blur of frenetic activity. Earth's united forces worked tirelessly to prepare for the impending confrontation. Elena's days were filled with endless simulations, tests, and refinements of the emotional amplification technology. As the deadline approached, Elena found herself on the bridge of the UES Defiant, Earth's new flagship. The massive vessel hummed with power, its systems a seamless blend of human and reverse-engineered alien technology. At its core was the emotional resonance engine, the culmination of Elena's research. Final systems check complete, Zane reported from his station. All ships report ready. Colonel Connor, now Admiral, stood at the center of the bridge. Very well, all ships, prepare for jump. Elena felt a momentary flutter of anxiety. Everything hinged on this moment. The plan they had devised was audacious, combining military strategy with scientific theory and a good dose of human unpredictability. With a flash of light, the Earth fleet jumped into hyperspace. The journey to the intercept point took mere hours, a testament to how far human technology had advanced. As they dropped back into normal space, the sensor officer called out, "Void Dweller fleet detected. Multiple signatures, closing fast." Admiral Connor's voice was steady as she gave the order. "All ships, battle formation. Prepare to engage." The space around them lit up as the Void Dweller ships opened fire, but the Earth fleet was ready, their shields, enhanced by alien tech, held firm against the onslaught. "Return fire," Connor ordered. "But remember the plan. We're not here to destroy them if we can avoid it." The human ships responded with a barrage of their own, targeting the Void Dwellers' propulsion systems and weapons. But this was just the first phase of the plan. "Dr. Reyes," Connor said, turning to Elena, "it's time." Elena nodded, her heart racing as she activated the emotional resonance engine. All ships commence emotional broadcast. Across the fleet, similar devices sprang to life, but these weren't weapons in the traditional sense. Instead, they began to project a concentrated burst of human emotions into space. Joy, love, hope, courage, the very essence of what made humanity unique flooded out from the Earth ships. The effect on the Void Dwellers was immediate and dramatic. Some of their ships began to falter, their energy harvesting systems overloading from the intensity of the emotional onslaught. Others seemed to freeze in space, as if unsure how to respond to this unprecedented attack. But the Void Dwellers weren't defeated yet. A group of their ships, apparently shielded against the emotional broadcast, pressed their attack with renewed vigor. "They've adapted faster than we expected," Elena said, her brow furrowed in concentration as she worked to modulate the emotional output. Admiral Connor nodded grimly. "Then we moved to Phase 2. Zane, initiate the cyber assault." Zane's fingers flew over his console as he launched a multi-pronged attack on the Void Dwellers' systems. Months of studying their technology had given him unprecedented insight into their weaknesses. As the battle raged on, Elena noticed something strange. Some of the Void Dweller ships weren't attacking. In fact, they seemed to be moving closer to the Earth fleet, almost as if, "They're trying to communicate," she exclaimed. Sure enough, a transmission cut through the chaos of battle. The alien voice was familiar, yet different from what they had heard before. "Humans," it said. We remember. We feel. Please, help us." Elena exchanged a look with Admiral Connor. This was an unexpected development, but one they had hoped for. "Open a channel," Connor ordered. As Elena began to converse with the aliens, a remarkable story unfolded. The emotional broadcast had awakened something long dormant in some of the Void Dwellers. Memories of their original physical forms, of the emotions they had lost in their quest for immortality. "We were wrong," the alien voice said, filled with a mixture of sorrow and wonder. "In trying to escape death, we lost what made life worth living. You have reminded us." Not all of the Void Dwellers were swayed, however. A significant portion of their fleet continued to attack, refusing to accept this change. "We need to end this quickly," Connor said, "before we lose our advantage." Elena nodded, an idea forming. "I think I know how. Zane, can you isolate the ships that are trying to communicate with us?" "Done," Zane replied after a moment. "Good. Now, I'm going to modify our emotional broadcast. Instead of just projecting our emotions, we're going to create a feedback loop with our new allies." As Elena worked, the effect was dramatic. The combined emotional energy of humans and the awakened Void Dwellers created a wave of overwhelming empathy that washed over the battlefield. One by one, the attacking ships began to power down. The few that continued to resist found themselves outmatched by the combined human and awakened Void Dweller forces. As the last enemy ship surrendered, a cheer went up across the Earth fleet. They had done it. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and emerged victorious. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. As she looked out at the stars, she realized that humanity's place in the universe had fundamentally changed. They were no longer just inhabitants of a small blue planet. They were now players on a cosmic stage. The real work of healing, of understanding, of building a new future with their former enemies was just beginning. But as Elena saw the mix of determination and hope on the faces around her, she knew that humanity was ready for the challenge. The secret weapon that had saved them wasn't their technology or their strategies. It was their humanity itself, their capacity for emotion, for empathy, for growth. And that, Elena realized, was a power that would serve them well in the vast, unknown future that lay ahead. The final battle and aftermath. In the days following the initial confrontation, a tense peace settled over the combined fleet of human and awakened Void Dweller ships. The remaining hostile forces had retreated, but everyone knew this was far from over. Elena found herself working around the clock, collaborating with the awakened Void Dwellers to understand their technology and physiology better. The more she learned, the more she realized how much humanity and these ancient beings could learn from each other. "It's fascinating," she explained to Admiral Connor during a briefing. The Void Dwellers' quest for immortality led them to shed their physical forms, but in doing so, they lost the very essence of what made them alive. Our emotions, our capacity for growth and change, these are the things that truly define life. Connor nodded thoughtfully. "And now that some of them remember this, they want to help us fight the others." "Yes," Elena confirmed. "They believe that if we can awaken more of their kind, we can end this conflict without further bloodshed." But even as they planned, the enemy was regrouping. Long-range sensors detected a massive buildup of Void Dweller forces at the edge of the solar system. This would be their final push, an all-or-nothing attempt to crush humanity and their newfound allies. As the combined fleet prepared for the coming battle, Elena worked tirelessly to refine the emotional resonance engine. With the help of the awakened Void Dwellers, she had made significant improvements. "We can now target specific emotional frequencies," she explained to the War Council. "Joy, empathy, even regret. We can project these emotions with pinpoint accuracy." Zane, who had been working closely with Elena, added, "And we've integrated this with our cyber warfare capabilities. We can use the emotional broadcast to create openings in their defenses, then exploit those openings with targeted system attacks." As the enemy fleet approached, tension on the bridge of the UES Defiant reached a fever pitch. Admiral Connor's voice was steady as she gave the order. "All ships, battle stations. This is it, people. Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment." The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the two fleets clashed. Energy weapons lit up the void, and explosions bloomed like silent flowers against the backdrop of stars. Elena manned her station, coordinating the emotional broadcasts across the fleet. She watched in awe as waves of targeted emotions washed over the enemy ships. Some faltered, their crews momentarily overwhelmed by the sudden influx of long-forgotten feelings. Others pushed through, their determination evident in the ferocity of their attacks. Hours passed, and the battle hung in the balance. Both sides had taken heavy losses, and fatigue was setting in. But then something unexpected happened. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting a new energy signature. It's coming from Earth." All eyes turned to the main view screen, where a stunning sight greeted them. A massive wave of energy was emanating from the planet, radiating outward into space. As it washed over the human fleet, Elena felt a surge of strength and resolve. "It's Earth," she breathed in wonder. "The planet itself is responding to the emotional energy we've been generating. It's amplifying it." The effect on the battle was immediate and dramatic. The wave of Earth-boosted emotions slammed into the Void Dweller fleet with unprecedented force. Ship after ship went dark as their crews were overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of feeling. In the chaos, Zane saw his opportunity. His fingers flew over his console as he launched a final massive cyber attack. "Their defenses are crumbling," he shouted. "We're in." As the last of the enemy ships fell silent, a hush fell over the bridge of the Defiant. Had they done it? Was it really over? Slowly, transmissions began to come in from the disabled Void Dweller ships. They were surrendering, asking for help. The emotional onslaught had awakened them, just as it had the others. Admiral Connor's voice was thick with emotion as she addressed the fleet. "Stand down weapons. Begin rescue operations. The war is over." A cheer went up across the human fleet, quickly spreading to their awakened Void Dweller allies. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had not only survived, but had found a way to end the conflict without resorting to genocide. In the days and weeks that followed, the true scope of what had happened began to sink in. The awakened Void Dwellers, with their vast knowledge of the universe, offered to help humanity take its first real steps into the galactic community. Earth, changed by the massive release of emotional energy, had become a beacon of life in the galaxy. Scientists theorized that the planet had always been special, perhaps explaining why the Void Dwellers had been drawn to humanity in the first place. As for Elena, she found herself at the forefront of a new era of scientific discovery. The blend of human emotion and Void Dweller technology opened up possibilities that had once been the realm of science fiction. "We stand at a crossroads," she said in an address to the United Earth Council. "We have the opportunity to forge a new path, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in the galaxy. We've learned that true strength lies not in the denial of our emotions, but in embracing them, in growing and changing." As she looked out at the sea of faces before her, human and alien alike, Elena felt a profound sense of hope. The road ahead would not be easy, but they would face it together. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, not through force of arms, but through the very qualities that made them human. The harvest was over. The era of exploration, of growth, of building bridges between vastly different forms of life had begun. And as the first joint human Void Dweller ships prepared to venture out into the unknown, Elena knew that the greatest adventure was just beginning. The universe, with all its wonders and challenges, awaited, and humanity, tempered by adversity and strengthened by compassion, was ready to meet it.